good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I hope you're all doing well. Happy Tuesday. So I wasn't going to come live at this time. I was going to do a live stream this afternoon, my time. It's currently 11:16 a.m. here in the UK. And I was going to do a live stream later, comparing the confession that Ron Logan made with those that Rick Allen made. And, you know, looking at which one is the most likely. However, I just started watching this. Now, this is on a channel called Excited Utterance. Hella Excited Utterance. And what she was playing was Vinnie Politan Investigates over on Court TV. Now, what happens with Court TV is they show Vinnie Politan's shows on their website, like live. They play it live, and then the day after, they put it on YouTube. So Excited Utterance happened to catch it live. And I started watching this. I'm like 23 minutes in. I was actually a little bit further. And something struck me. Okay, so this is going to be mega quick because I recognize that most people in the US, like the majority of my viewers, will still be asleep at this time. Like even on the East Coast, you're likely still asleep at this time, or you've not gone to bed yet. I guess this is normally a great time for people down under. So good evening to you all from down under. But I am going to keep it mega quick, and I'm going to let this percolate because when this episode of Vinnie Politan Investigates goes on YouTube, I'll review the whole thing. But I'm going to let this percolate, and then I'll do the Ron Logan confession thing maybe tomorrow, the next day, maybe. Okay, but I'm only going to play this little section. So Excited Utterance is playing Court TV live, and I'm playing Excited Utterance. So it's interesting, but it's just this one thing that struck me. And is there more Delphi BS? Is my question. And I think there might be, unless there's a good explanation for this. But thank you so much, Krista, for a $49.99 super chat before the stream even went live. So thank you so much. You're incredibly generous. And Purple AJ has gifted 10 memberships. Let me just see who got those. All right. We got Taylor, Suzanne, Colcase, Karen, Britt, Hold My Halo, Trio Girl Mom, Poetic Justice. Let's have a look. Michelle, great name. And Carrie, welcome y'all. If you've never been a member before, go and check out the members area. If you have been a member before, welcome back. And thank you so much, Purple AJ. Krista and Purple AJ's superstars here today. But I'm not going to say hellos. I'm going to get straight into this. Right. So this is new trial exhibit. Court TV have got their hands on a few new trial exhibits by the looks of things. And I don't know who else got these. I don't know whether there's YouTubers who are going to play these or who have played these and I've just missed them. But again, I'm playing this from Excited Utterance. This is Excited Utterance. And I'm kind of part way through this and something struck me. So look at this timestamp. Can you see that? I can't zoom in. Oh, I can zoom in a bit more. Can you see that timestamp there? 2017, 2:13. So 13th of February, 2017, the afternoon that the girls were abducted. 14:21. That's 21 minutes past 2 for those who are not familiar with the 24-hour clock and military time. 14:21, 2:21. Now, what time did they say that this car, that is supposedly Rick Allen's car, pass the Who's Your Harvey store camera. What did they say? What have they told us? What did they tell us? FBI confirmed that it's fast. Yeah, 12 minutes. 12 minutes. Vinnie Politan explains it. But I think there's monkey business going on here. Thought it was the 14th they went missing. No, it was the 13th. They went missing on the afternoon of the 13th and they were found around 12:15 p.m. So just gone midday on the 14th. So they were found on the 14th. Okay. All right, I'm going to play this. Now, the volume isn't great because Excited Utterance is playing this off live Court TV. And the volume is a little bit low on her end. So turn your volume up. You'll need to turn your volume up. I'll put CCs on. Oh, CCs are not on yet. It does take a few hours for YouTube to put CCs on. She streamed this 8 hours ago. Interesting why there's no CCs on yet. All right. Without further ado, let's play this. So Court TV have got their hands on the CCTV footage from the Who's Your Harvey store camera, which is this one right here. So this is the bridge. And this is the Who's Your Harvey store camera. So the camera's like on the end of this building. Can anybody remember what time they said that Rick Allen's car passed? Going west, so going this way. Now, Rick Allen, in the interviews that we've all seen in the last week, said he came through town. This is the town of Delphi. And the trails are just on the outskirts of the town. This is the town, right? Rick Allen lives down here on Whiteman Drive. So how on earth would he be coming west on County Road North? If he came through town, coming from home, he'd come through town, it'd be much quicker, because if he went this way, you have to go all down these, you have to go, I don't even know, there, across there, you have to go like that, all the way around. Why would you do that? Why would you do that? But they said that Rick Allen's car passed the Who's Your Harvey store camera at 1:27. That's what was in the PCA. That's what we've been all led to believe. Just in time, you know, to park at the old CPS building at like 1:30 and to meet the girls at 2:13 and abduct them. Okay, listen to this. Listen to this. Let me just get the right spot and then I'll zoom in again. All right. So again, I'm going to mute out so that you can turn your volume all the way up. We'll just go back a shade back so we get the context there. All right. So I'm going to mute out and turn your volume up because it is quite low. Okay, I don't understand why there's no sound. Hold on, let me, this normally works. Sorry about that. All right, we'll go back to where we were. All right, let me know if you can hear this. Let me know if you can hear this.
There's Richard Allen denying that he is the bridge guy as he takes a look at that still frame from that video. Not the only video that was significant in the case, right? So there was also video of a car.
Can you hear that now? Yeah? It's bizarre. Okay. All right.
driving towards the trails. And here are some of those images of the car that they say was driving towards where the trails were. And they are saying this is Richard Allen's car. Apparently he had a Ford Focus, a black Ford Focus. And they say this is a black Ford Focus. You can see it's in the spotlight there, the back left. Now, we also have an image with a timestamp on it. Let's take a look at that. And the time of this is significant as well. Well, there it says 14:21:39, which, you know, when you subtract 12 from it, puts you at 2:21 in the afternoon. But apparently they claim that it was not correct. At the time on the timestamp was not correct. And like everything else in this case, everything's just a little off. The other video is a little grainy. You can't quite see the bridge guy's face. You can't quite see exactly what kind of car this is. And you don't know the precise time because apparently there's a problem with that as well.
Reminds me of Brian Koberger's
They
car.
argued and successfully argued about that video to incriminate Richard Allen, which brings
All
us to
that
the
aerial
question in our investigation. And
So here's my question. How do they know how off that clock was? Yeah, funny how all these timestamps are incorrect. Now, regularly, right, CCTV and surveillance video is off, right? If the person whose camera it is doesn't set the time properly, it can be off, right? But to use this as an exhibit in court, shouldn't they have worked out what the actual time was? They've had a while to work it out, yeah. In the PCA, they said Rick Allen's car passed the Hoosier Harvey store camera at 1:27. How do they work out that 2 is 1:27? How have they worked out how much wrong that time is? Hasn't he already confessed? Oh, you need to go back and watch my videos, Paddy Productions. I'm also from the UK, and I know the truth. So go and watch my recent videos about the confessions. I think you simply can't give credibility to video a store had for 7 years when cops couldn't keep interviews for 70 days. I think they collected the video like soon after the murders, and they've just kept it in storage. But my question is, how have they been able to verify the time on the Hoosier Harvey store camera, and how have they been able to correct that? You know, if they've corrected 14:21, so 2:21, and made it 1:27, how have they worked out how wrong it was? So does it mean that everything that comes from the Hoosier Harvey store camera is also wrong? Because on this camera, this is the camera that captured all the movements on this road. And you can see that when you see the shots from the video, yes, it's in the distance, but it's pretty clear, isn't it? So this is the camera that should have caught the muddy and bloody man. Now, you might not have been able to see the blood on him, but you would have been able to see a man walking along here. This is what they claimed, that Sarah Carbo saw a muddy and bloody wet man walking west on County Road North at 3:57. Well, where is he? Where is he? Because now we know that camera shot is pretty clear. You'd absolutely see somebody walking along here at 3:57. You might not be able to identify them, but you'd definitely be able to see them. So again, is this just more fuckery? Is this just more BS? How have they verified what the actual time of this camera was? And we've got no verification, unless if somebody was in the courtroom and they explained how they corrected the time. Yeah, they saw Kelsey. So Kelsey driving away, so she dropped the girls off here. And they said it was 1:49 when she passed Who's Your Horror Store. So, again, how do we know that that time's correct? It's just BS. Absolute BS. I'm going to play a little bit more of this because they talk specifically about the car. And he's got Barbara MacDonald and Bob from Defense Diaries on it. Again, I'll review the whole thing once this hits YouTube. Probably tomorrow. So it'll probably come on like this evening. What they do on Court TV, they play it live on their website or on the TV. And then the day after, they post it to YouTube. And Excited Utterance, who is this lady here, she just happened to catch it live. So she missed the first bit. So she's not even got all of it. She missed the first bit. So not unless you were watching it live last night, none of us have seen it all. But yeah, it'll come on YouTube later today. He's heading home, right? I don't know. Because if he parked at the CPS building, which is here, he would never pass this camera. He would never pass this camera, like either coming or going. So he couldn't remember where exactly he parked. They've just assumed that he parked at the old CPS building, which is here. Now, he could have parked here. This is actually a designated parking area. Now, whether it was in 2017 or not, I'm not sure. Like, this area was there in 2017, but there was a building there. So I'm not sure that you could actually park there in 2017. But that's where he normally parks when he goes to the trails. So he'd never pass this camera because he lives down here. Let's put his address in. 1967 Whiteman Drive. So that's where Rick lives, 1967 Whiteman, which is here. So he'd just go through town and then park there. Or go under that bridge, and if he was going to the old CPS building, he'd have to go under that bridge and park there. So he'd never pass this camera. Unless he went all the way around here. So instead of going just through town, he went this way. He'd have to go all the way to here, I think, and then go around to appear on this camera at all. Either going or coming. But this camera is really clear. So you definitely see somebody walking. And it's not clear enough, however, to see what kind of car that is. So let's play a little bit more of this. And they actually talk about the car.
139, which, you know, when you subtract 12 from it, puts you at 2:21 in the afternoon. But apparently they claim that it was not correct. At the time on the timestamp was not correct. And like everything else in this case, everything's just a little off. You know, the video's a little grainy. You can't quite see the bridge guy's face. You can't quite see exactly what kind of car this is. And you don't know the precise time because apparently there's a problem with that as well.
Reminds me of Brian Koberger's car.
Argued and successfully argued about that video to incriminate Richard Allen, which brings
All
us to
that
the
aerial
question in our investigation. And it's all about the video right there. Is this Richard Allen's car? Is that the Ford Focus, the black Ford Focus? And is that him arriving at the trails just in time to abduct and murder these two innocent girls?
No.
Still with us, Barbara MacDonald and Bob Mata. I think we have a split screen because I don't even know what a Ford Focus looks like a 2016, you know. So we have a split screen here. On the right, we found the car that is described as his, and then on the left is the surveillance.
I mean, look, that's like really, really zoomed in. Like the actual camera is like from a distance, so that's really zoomed in. How can you actually tell what color that car is? Now, we know that that's a dark coloured car. I think we could say that, dark coloured car. But it could be a dark grey car. It could be a blue car. You know, them coming along and saying, well, Rick Allen was the only person who had a black Ford Focus in Delphi at that time is nonsense. What about blue Ford Focuses? What about grey, dark grey Ford Focuses? Like, we know it's not white. Like, it's definitely not a white car. Could even be a red car. We don't know. So zoomed in, how do we know? How do we know? And how do we know that that's actually a 2016 Ford Focus? How do we know that? Ford Focuses are just pretty standard cars. Yeah, we need to stretch that car out a bit. I mean, it could be a Ford Focus. It could absolutely be a Ford Focus. But there's absolutely no way to tell whether that's Rick Allen's car or not. And also, I would like to know how they worked out what the actual time was, because the timestamp on the Who's Your Harvest Store camera says 2:21. Now, we know the state has questioned the camera on Brad Webber's van, you know, the surveillance footage that the defense got from the discovery of Brad Webber's van and released it after the trial. And that timestamp was 2:44. And the defense, in their reply, said, well, we don't know that the timestamp is correct. We don't know it's the correct time. Well, I'll throw it right back at them. How do we know what the time was on this Who's Your Harvest Store camera? Because it definitely didn't say 1:27. So how did they work out how wrong that time was? Surely they had to work it out, how wrong that time was. On Defence Diary's Twitter post, October 22nd, Bob stated that the feds verified this timestamp was 54 minutes fast. Yes, but how? How did they clarify it? We know that it's fast, but how did they clarify it? It's just BS. Absolute BS. Has it been confirmed to be a Ford Focus? No. No. There's a bunch of similar cars. I don't think he was going home because, as I've just said, this is Rick Allen's house here. So the quickest way is just to go through town. And that's where the bridge is. That's where the Who's Your Harvest Store camera is. That's where you would park these days to go to the trails. The state said that he parked here. He couldn't remember where he parked, so they said he parked there. So whether he was coming or going, he wouldn't have even passed that camera. Just going the, normal route. To pass that camera, either coming or going, he would have to go right the ways along here and go down this way. Because the creek's there. So there's nowhere to pass because you can't drive a car over the bridge. So you have to go all the ways up here. So you're going a few miles out of your way to even pass that camera. It's always concerned me. This camera has always concerned me because of the place where Rick Allen lived. That it doesn't make sense for him to be passing that camera at all. Unless he took a really scenic route. But I want to know how they verified how fast this clock was. Normally, they show at the trial, they show a verification. Like, they can show an actual clock. Like looking at the time on an actual clock. When there's ways to verify. There's ways to verify. And so how do we know how they verified that time? And they didn't just make it up. We can't. So it's more reasonable doubt. Did Rick go straight to the trails from his mum's house or stop at home first? I think he said he went home first. But even if he came from, where does his mother live? Is it Mexico or Peru? So where's Peru? He said he went home first, but even if he went from his mother's, does she live in Peru? Peru, Indiana. Yeah, Mexico and Peru are towns. Yeah, he said he went home to get a jacket. Yeah. All right, but even if he was coming from Peru, let's have a look. So again, if he was coming from Peru, so Peru's up here. Peru's all the ways up here. Peru's quite a ways. So there's Peru. So even if he went straight from his mother's, he still wouldn't pass the Who's Your Harvey Store camera. Because he'd come in this way, along a highway. So she lives in Peru, but I'll do Mexico as well. Did he grow up in Mexico? Mexico, Indiana, not Mexico, the country. So Mexico's next door to Peru. Mexico and Peru, they're right there. So again, if he comes straight from his mother's, he'd never pass the Who's Your Harvey Store camera. He'd never pass it. Never pass it. There's the Who's Your Harvey Store. There's the highway. So whether you're going from Mexico or Peru, they're next door to each other. I think he grew up in Mexico. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. So Mexico's here. It's a little town. And then Peru's here. This is Peru. So they're next door to each other. So whether you're coming from Peru or Mexico, you will go down the highway and you come in from the north, going south. And then to park, you'd have to get off the highway. So you go off the highway and then park there. Or if you parked at the old CPS building, like they say, you'd have to come off the highway, go around here, go under this bridge, and then park there. He'd never pass the Who's Your Harvey Store camera. CW's been a member for 19 months. Like and subscribe, please do. I'm trying to get to 100,000 subscribers by the end of this year. So I've just hit 84,000 subscribers. So I think I can do it. A to Z, member for 10 months. Michelle has the ultimate BS detector. Yes, called common sense. Look, I've always wondered about this this footage at the Who's Your Harvey Store, because I don't understand how he would pass it at all. So if he's coming from home, he's going to go through town. So what are they saying? That he went all the ways around here to cover his tracks? Is that what he thought? That he wouldn't be caught on any cameras if he went this way? Maybe. Maybe he just likes going the scenic route. Maybe. Possible. But it's a big question mark. But he put himself there. Yeah, on the trails. But multiple people were on the trails that day. So what if he was there? So what? He never put himself at the crime scene, though. Yeah, he did. He did. He said he left before 2. Have to take the long route to avoid speed bumps. Really shocks me doing so. Avoid bumps. Well, maybe you went the scenic route. It's a bit blurry, isn't it? It's blurry. All right, let's listen to a little bit more of this.
An empty field, but some of the witnesses had said they saw a black car backed in like it was hiding its license plate, was how they characterized it. And so
yeah, in the PCA they said that it was Rick Allen's car. However, one person said that the car they saw was a purple, not black, a purple PT Cruiser. Not a Ford Focus. Somebody said that they saw what they thought was a smart car, not a Ford Focus. And Betsy Blair, the state's own witness, said that the car she saw was not black, and it was consistent with a Mercury Comet, a 1965 Mercury Comet, because it looked like an angular car like her dad used to have. Nobody who passed the CPS building saw a black Ford Focus. No one was actually able to confirm that they saw Rick Allen's car. And if we go back to the camera here, so camera here and CPS building here, you had to be driving either past on County Road or on the highway. to be able to even see anything parked here. So you're going to be zipping by, you're only going to get a glance, and nobody saw a black car. Nobody saw a black car. One of them said it was purple. Could it have been a purple car on this camera? Yeah. Nobody saw it. Nobody saw. Nobody saw. CPS building here. You either have to be driving by on County Road North or the highway. And nobody saw a black Ford Focus. Nobody saw somebody that fit Rick Allen's description, and nobody saw a car that matches a description of a black Ford Focus. That car could have been driving by and never stop. That car could have been just, I don't know, heading out of town. That car may be completely unconnected and may never have stopped, just driving through. And the car that people saw may have been connected to the murders, but none of them saw a black Ford Focus.
They found this video on this Hoosier Harvest Store camera. They say it's 54 minutes off, so it's actually at 1:27. And this is Richard Allen arriving from the west.
So they say it's 54 minutes off. They say it's 54 minutes off. Okay, well, again, how have they verified that that's 54 minutes off? How have they verified it?
East to that lot on 300 North. But in Richard Allen's interrogations, he indicated he had parked somewhere else and would not have taken this route. Steve Mullen, who at the time of the trial was the prosecutor's investigator, he is once again the Delphi City Police Chief, he testified that he went to the CVS when Richard Allen was working and saw Richard Allen's car backed into a parking spot at the CVS where he was working, took a picture of it, and Steve testified that the hubcaps on Richard Allen's car matched the car in that.
Oh, the hubcaps. Thank you, Carol, for the £2. So the hubcaps on Richard Allen's car
little bit of grainy video
match the car on the Hoosier Harvest Store.
There.
Not the hubcaps.
Can you even see the hubcaps? Can you even see the hubcaps?
But it's hard to say. You know, it's not a clear picture. And like you said, Vinny, none of these images really give us a definitive look that we can all agree on.
It's like everything else in this case. Hey, Bob, what are your thoughts about this video, the significance of it, and demonstrating that it is, in fact...
What time did Kelsey arrive then? Well, they say 1:49. However, if we can't verify the time for that car passing by, then we also can't verify the time for Kelsey arriving. We can't verify the time for any of it, because I want to know how it was verified. What was it compared with? Was it at the time, you know, when they went to collect it, did they just look at the clock and see that it was 54 minutes off? If so, and it's as easy as that, great, fantastic, they've verified. But how did they present this to the jury? Because if I was on this jury, I'd want to know how they verified it. That would have been my juror question. Like jurors were allowed to ask questions in this trial. That would have been my question. If they hadn't have verified how they did it, I would have asked, how did you verify the time? How did they verify the time? BG's height is ignored on here. No, it isn't, Mike. I replied to you in the comments the other day. It's not ignored. I just can't verify. As I told you in my comments the other day, I can't verify the height of BG myself. Now, I know that lots of people have tried to find the height of BG, and I'm not confident with any of them because they come out, you know, different. Now, back in the day, back in the early days when the FBI were on this case, they had a height assessment of BG on their materials, on their Delphi materials. Like they had a, wanted poster up, unsolved murders, like the FBI's wanted posters. And BG was on there, and I'm sure that they said 5'8" to 5'10". That was it's not easily verified, Mike. It's not easily verified. It's not easily verified. No, it's not common sense. As I've said previously, I've talked about BG's height previously. We don't know how far back Libby was. And if you're comparing it with the length of the trestle, because BG is so far back and zoomed in, you can't get a full assessment of his body. You don't know if he was like bending forward. You don't know if if he wasn't standing straight up and he was kind of looking forward, then that would throw the height off. Did the defense dispute the time at the trial? I don't know. None of us were allowed to see the trial, were we? So I don't know. I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. But I'm sure if anybody can verify this, way back, I'm going way back, way before Rick Allen's arrest. I think it was even before all the Kegan Kline stuff came out. The FBI had on their materials, on their website, 5'8" to 5'10". Like they'd done a height assessment. However, they took it off. Now, the FBI left the case because they had a falling out with the Indiana State Police. So I don't know whether they took the height off then. I may just be dreaming, but I'm positive they had a height assessment on their Delphi materials. Can't find it now, but if somebody, has screenshots from all of the stuff that was from really, really early on in the case. See, I never took any screenshots of anything. I've been following this case for a long time. Way before Kegan Kline, I've been following this case. Way before Kegan Kline. So I don't think you can verify like to the exact inch, because you've got this really zoomed in, like Libby's off the bridge. Like if you knew exactly how far away Libby was and the exact distance between Libby and Bridge Guy, you might be able to use that in your assessment. But because the image is so zoomed in, if it's so zoomed in, you don't know whether he's leaning forward just a little bit, because if you're leaning forward just a little bit, it's going to throw the height assessment off. I know what people are doing. They know the height of the horizontal, so they're looking at pixel size and all of this stuff. Promise you he's 5'4". How have you made that assessment, Mike? Because if you're doing it based on like Chat GPT telling you the height and looking at the pixel size of the image, it's nonsense. It's absolute nonsense. It's so easy to be inaccurate. That's why I don't talk about height, because nobody has ever been able, even the feds have been able to give a to the inch assessment of how tall Bridge Guy is. The FBI might have been wrong. I'm sure they said 5'8" to 5'10". If I'm looking at the chat right now and nobody's correcting me. Maybe you don't remember, but it's way back, long time back. And the height wasn't discussed at trial. I think because they all realise, like the prosecution and the defence all realise that trying to get a height from that image is incredibly difficult, and it would be so easy to get it off by an inch, by 2 inches, by 3 inches, and you've got a completely different narrative then. That's why I don't I don't talk about height. I don't talk about height.
His car.
Well, we never saw the video, like everything on this case, everything else in the case. We didn't see the full video. They showed us. I don't even know if they got the full video. What we saw were these stills, these very stills that we're looking at. I don't know if when they went to the Hoosier Harvest store that they actually got the entire video.
Wait, what? I thought Court TV had those screenshots from the actual video. So where did these screenshots come from then? Why wouldn't they just play the video at the trial? Why wouldn't they just play the video at the trial? Maybe they would have some screenshots, you know, zoomed in. But surely the evidence is the video. So where have they got it from then? Listen to what Bob just said. Let's play it back.
I don't even know if they got the full video. What we saw were these stills, these very stills that we're looking at.
I don't even know if they've got the full video. So this is insane. This is insane.
I don't know if when they went to the Hoosier Harvest store that they actually got the entire video. I mean, to me, you know, look, I'm a defense attorney. You can't make that thing out. Like you said, at best, the most you can say, it's not inconsistent with the Ford Focus. I mean, can anybody actually sit there and say that it is Richard Allen's car? I don't think so.
They must have the video. So not only are we've got a problem with the time on the clock. Why did the evidence is the video? So the timestamp wasn't available to jurors. I don't know if they only showed them. I mean, look, no, I think they must have seen these screenshots because Court TV have got these screenshots and Judge Gull is only releasing what was presented at trial. She's not releasing anything that wasn't presented at trial. So, no, I think the jury were shown the timestamp, the one with the timestamp on. But my point is, why did they not just show the video? The evidence is the video of the car driving by. Why would you just show screenshots? The screenshots are useful when they're zoomed in, but the actual evidence is the video. So you're actually seeing the car driving by. I assumed that the jury had seen the video and Court TV was sent these screenshots that are clearly taken from a video. So how do we know that these images weren't manipulated? If we've never seen the video, how do we know that this car wasn't superimposed on this video? How do we know? We don't. Thank you, Blissful, for gifting 5 memberships. We got Mike, we got Summertime, we got Mr. Potato Head, we got Erica, and is it going to give me another one? Oh, Teresa. So welcome, you 5. I know some of you, I recognize your names. You've been members before. So, but if you've not, go and check out the members area. We've got a bunch of stuff in there. And welcome back for those who have been members before. How do we know that this wasn't just superimposed? You know, they took a video, they took the video from Hoosier Harvest store and, you know, with nothing on the road, and they superimposed a car, a Ford Focus, onto this video. How do we know? How do we know? If the jury and the people in the court have not seen this video, they were only shown screenshots. Then how come the jury weren't shown the video? Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
One of the bigger things that they kind of focused on were the wheels. If you can see in this picture that you have up there, Vinny, you can see daylight in between kind of the spokes of the wheels. That was a big thing for the.
No, you can't. How can you see daylight through the spokes? I can't see daylight through the spokes. I see that white thing there. That could be a reflection. I don't see daylight through these spokes. Sorry, no, I don't.
State. That was one of the things they said, look, that's one of the ways we could make out it's Richard Allen's car, because you can kind of see the light through the tires themselves. But in terms of being able to really identify.
Wait.
Richard Allen's car.
Daylight is really
excited utterance. He's got the same problem as me. You can't see daylight through them. You can see some kind of reflection here, which will be coming off like this area. But it's not daylight. You're not seeing daylight.
They said they could see daylight. That's not necessarily daylight. From that one still, they said you could see daylight. That could be light reflection.
It is.
Just like light is reflecting off the back of the car.
She's right.
Just see where my mouse is.
I mean, that, you know, you could say, oh, that's daylight. That's daylight. That's daylight. No, this looks like reflections off the wheel rims. That's not daylight. So if you've got like a silver like wheel rim on it, like the spokes, it's going to reflect like this is reflecting because it's metallic. With rims, the light shines through the spokes. Yeah, but you can't see light shining through. You can't see daylight through that. You can't confirm that's daylight. That could just as easily be reflection. Is seeing daylight through car wheels even a thing? I have no idea. Maybe you got some fancy wheel rims, maybe. So what have we got from this video? We don't know that they've actually verified the time was 54 minutes wrong. The jury and the court never saw the actual video. They only saw screenshots, which could have just been any car. And we don't even know whether there was a car. That could have been made up. Now, look, I don't generally go for conspiracies like that, you know, that they completely make up CCTV. But in this case, I'm sorry, I don't trust them. I don't trust them to say, oh, yeah, you've got to believe us that this was 54 minutes out. You've got to believe us of that. Listen, when I was a jury, I know that it's in the UK, but, you know, we have very similar court systems. When I was a juror here in the UK, back in 2020, they had a bunch of CCTV, and there was one camera that was like really important for the case, and the time was wrong. Like it was just someone's camera, and they'd not set up the clock properly. And the officer who was presenting this video explained how they verified the actual time. Surely that's a thing. You don't just take it as gospel. They say how they know that that clock was wrong and how wrong it was. Welcome to America. Listen, we're just as corrupt over here, but I'm just saying that if you've got camera footage that's very relevant, you show the actual footage. You might show screenshots as well, but you show the actual footage. And if there's a problem with the time on the footage, you explain how you verified the actual real time. I can't with these people, honestly. I can't with these people. And it's even more concerning knowing that they didn't show the actual video, that they just show the jury screenshots. If I was a juror, I would not have been happy with that. I would not have been happy with that. I couldn't look at this car and say that that's Rick Allen's car, not knowing how that time was verified and not knowing how the actual video looked. I'd want the actual video. I'd want to see the video, not just screenshots. Unbelievable.
Waiting, right? Like, see how you can see the reflection of the bumper, right? Why is it definitely daylight coming through the spokes here?
Exactly.
Why is it not just light reflecting off it?
Reflection, because it's metallic.
That blows my mind.
Yeah.
That they can say definitively that that's daylight coming through there. That's bullshit. That is, I didn't know that bit.
What time is the state claiming this shot was taken? 1:27. They've told us, way back from the PCA, they've told us that Rick Allen's car was driving west on County Road North, which is this road right here. Hold on. So he's the Hoosier Harvest Store. So they're saying that Rick Allen's car was driving west this direction on County Road North at 1:27, past the camera at 1:27. What we see on this camera, when they had the actual shot with the timestamp on, we saw 2:21. But apparently it's 54 minutes out. But what we don't know is how they verified that it's 54 minutes out. How did they verify that? To the jury. And the jury didn't see the video. All the jury have seen is screenshots. Well, screenshots are proper easy to manipulate. Video, not so much. Videos are hard to manipulate. I mean, these days, you know, with AI, not so much. But in 2017, it would have been really hard to, you know, doctor a video. Harder than it is today. But I'm sorry. I cannot believe that this is truthful. I can't believe that this is truthful. Unbelievable.
Wow, I missed that. I did not know they said that. Wild. That is absolutely wild. Wow.
Oh, I remember it coming out, like from the trial, like people talking about it who were in the courtroom at the trial, that they could see daylight through the spokes, and that's how they knew it was Rick Allen's car, because it was the same like wheel rims, and you could see daylight through Rick Allen's wheel rims, and you could see daylight through the wheel rims on the car that passed the Hoosier Harvest Store. But I don't see daylight here. I don't see daylight. I see a reflection.
Okay.
His car, because you can kind of see the light through the tires themselves. But in terms of being able to really identify it from that distance with it being that grainy, I mean, you just can't do it. I mean, we're talking about somebody's life, and that being one of the key pieces of evidence. Then when you contrast that with what Richard Allen said during his interviews, he didn't drive down 300 North. Never did. Well, it wasn't his route. When he would go to the trails, he always came in through town. When I was down in town, Barbara and I were both in town. You know, we were both out to the trails. You know, you could leave downtown Delphi, the little town square where the courthouse was, and you could drive maybe 4 blocks, and there was a road that used to be an access road that you could drive up to the other side of the Freedom Bridge and park. Now, I went out there with Kathy Allen, and I asked Kathy, I said, where did you guys always park when you came out to the trails? And she walked me right down to where they would always park. And it used to be at the end of that access road that now has large boulders that you can't drive up straight from town, straight up there. So, but it was not what they're determining, the old CPS building. It's not that area. It's a different area completely. So, you know, it's like everything with this case, to me, it remains a mystery. Now we've got a convicted guy who's in prison for 130 years, and we're all still talking about this case because nobody trusts his conviction.
Let me ask you, Barbara, like, if you have the video of the car arriving, there should be video of it.
I do not trust. I cannot trust anything that this prosecution has brought forward. I can't see it with my own eyes, which I've got a problem with. And the evidence that the jury saw, I don't know how on earth a jury was able to convict him, even if they thought he was guilty. Even if they thought he was guilty, they've got to prove their case beyond a reasonable doubt. How is there not reasonable doubt with every single piece of evidence that we've seen? There's reasonable doubt. There's reasonable doubt that that's reflection. There's reasonable doubt that the time on that camera is wrong. There's reasonable doubt because they didn't see the video and they just saw screenshots. There's reasonable doubt that that wasn't an actual car and it's been added in since because the jury haven't seen the video. What on earth? What on earth were they? How were they able to convict him based on this evidence? How? I see daylight through their bullshit narratives. Yeah. Never a true word was ever spoken. In his confessions, did he ever admit to cutting them? No. The confession that got him was this one. Oh, yeah. So he did say, this is the confession that got him. Now, this is just narrative from the court. So this is just what how the media explained it. Hold on, I've got to wait for my screenshot to show up. Screenshot doesn't show up. Oh, there we go. All right. Okay. Oh, I've taken off Court TV. Put it over Court TV, but I think we're pretty much done with that anyway. So this is just from the media. Alan told Waller, his psychologist, what happened on February 13, 2017. He said he visited his mother in Mexico, Indiana, declined an invitation to go out with the family for lunch, instead drank 3 beers, followed the girls to the bridge, told her, I messed with the gun. I guess that's when the bullet fell out. When I ordered the girls down the hill. So the gun, he said in this confession, which was the 3rd of May, 2023, he messed with the gun when he told the girls to go down the hill. Well, where did he tell the girls to go down the hill? On the south side. But the unspent round was found on the north side. So this is a true magic bullet. So Rick Allen did not know, did not grasp that saying that you mess with the gun on the south side doesn't magically make the bullet jump to the north side, to the crime scene. I don't trust Waller at all. Do not trust her at all. Alan told her he saw a man or heard a van, hard to make out what Waller said. Again, this is from the media, but we know now it's a van. And that's what scared him not to rape them. He then said he forced the girls down the hill, across the creek, slashed their throats, covered their bodies with tree branches and walked back to his car. That's what he said. That's the conviction that sunk him. But Monica Waller was in a bunch of true crime Facebook groups, Delphi Facebook groups. We know this because when she was found out, the very day she was found out, she left all of those groups. So I think what she was doing, she was getting information from Facebook groups and from Reddit and all sorts of places. Didn't realize that people would get, like, why wouldn't you just use a fake name? Why wouldn't you just set up a profile with a fake name on it? And then none of us would have ever known. But anyway, she didn't because she's stupid. And she's fed Richard Allen information that she could then claim that only the killer would know. So the jury were impressed that only the killer would know about the van. Well, if you've been watching my recent videos, you will know that I've got a massive problem with Libby's phone, like how the steps and distance that's captured on Libby's health app, how that fits with this confession. It just doesn't. I'm not going to get into it here because I'm trying to keep this one quite brief, but I've got recent videos on that, loads of them actually. I've got lots of videos on Libby's phone because it just doesn't make sense. The state's own evidence does not make sense. And then when the motion to correct errors came out and the defense released the video of Brad Webber's truck, that passed by at 2:44 on the south side. So that passed by. So this is where the Webbers live. The camera was here or here, one of these houses, the Sandifer's house, and it showed Brad Webber's van driving by on this road at 2:44. But if you look at the state's timeline, the girls were over the other side of the bridge being killed at 2:32. We know that because that's when Libby's phone stopped moving. So we know the girls were over this north side. This is about where the crime scene is, just about here. We know the girls were here at 2:32 because that's when Libby's phone stopped moving, 2:32 and some seconds. But Rick Allen, in this confession, said that he forced the girls down the hill, across the creek, slashed their throats and covered their body with tree branches after he saw the van. So the van had to pass by before 2:32, well before 2:32, because he's got to have had time to take them down the hill, through the woods, across the creek, up the other side, and then murder them. He's got to do all of that before 2:32 because that's when Libby's phone stopped moving. So if the van only went by at 2:44, you got to believe in time travel. You got to believe in time travel. Isn't her session with him taped? No. Miraculously, this confession on the 3rd of May was made in an area where there was no cameras. Even though Rick Allen was filmed 24/7. Even when he was with his attorneys, he was filmed. When he was in his cell, he was filmed 24/7. When they walked him from one area of the prison to another, he was filmed. And then this one day, when he made this confession, oh, there was no cameras that day. Unbelievable. Come on now. Come on. No. So again, even if you believe that Rick Allen is guilty, how on earth did they prove their case to the jury beyond a reasonable doubt? She shredded her notes. She shredded her notes from that day, shredded them. So all they got was the narrative that she put into the computer. No, I'm not having it. I'm not having it. I'm really not having it. Anyway, I'll leave it there. I'm going to come back when the episode goes on to YouTube. I'll review it all So I'll come back and review it all, and we can have a longer discussion about it. So I just played that from Excited Utterances Live. Go and watch the whole live stream. I've put the link to that in the description box. So I'll just pop down in the description box. If you want to go and listen to it all, please do. And yeah, insane. Some more lies. I cannot believe that footage. I can't believe that footage was Rick Allen's car, because you can't tell it's a faux focus. I can't believe it because we don't know how they verified the time. That's 54 minutes wrong. I can't believe it because the jury weren't shown the video, which is the actual evidence. They were only shown screenshots, which could have been very easily manipulated. So I don't believe it. Thank you, Summertime, for the $1.99. Thank you so much. Very kind of you. Thank you. I can't believe it. So it's yet another thing I can't believe. Can't believe the car. No, and also, no one saw a black Ford Focus parked at the old CPS building. No one saw the car. The route that he would have had to take to go west on County Road North doesn't make sense in relation to where he lived. And I can't believe it. Just can't believe it. All right, guys. Thank you all for joining me. Thank you so much to Krista for the $49.99, to Purple AJ for gifting 10 memberships. Oh, Canoni's Baloney. Canoni's Baloney, member for 12 months. Woo, a year. Yeah, you got halfway to being an OG. Canoni's Baloney. Oh, Karen Reed. We thought we were going to get opening statements today, but they've not got 18 jurors yet. So they're having to do another day of jury selection. So maybe we'll get opening statements tomorrow. Maybe, who knows? CW member for 19 months, A to Z member for 10 months. Carol with £2. Blissful with 5 gifted memberships, and Summertime with $1.99. So thank you all that donated, and welcome to the new members. Thank you as always to the mods, and I'm gone. Enjoy the rest of your day. Bye, guys.